These women are completely out of touch with reality. And you're right, ABC should wake up.
Chaos broke out on The View when Karoline Leavitt dropped a bombshell revelation that left the hosts scrambling to defend themselves. The unexpected disclosure caught everyone off guard, causing an intense and heated exchange on air. As the hosts struggled to process the shocking news, tensions ran high and they quickly tried to clarify their positions, with some attempting to justify their actions while others attempted damage control. The dramatic moment unfolded live, turning the conversation into an unexpected confrontation that had viewers on the edge of their seats, questioning what would happen next.
Democrats in the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary, Karoline Leavitt. Watch this.
Today, we're diving into the details of what went down, why Karoline Leavitt's expose has everyone talking, and what it could mean for the future of The View. If you've been wondering what sparked this explosive meltdown, you're in the right place. The drama has taken over the airwaves, all thanks to Leavitt's revelations, which have shaken up the political landscape. Her bold statements have ignited heated debates, leaving both viewers and hosts in a frenzy. We'll break down everything that happened and explore the lasting impact this drama could have on the show going forward.
These women are completely out of touch with reality. And you're right, ABC should wake up.
It's no secret that The View loves stirring the pot, but this time, they bit off more than they could chew when Karoline Leavitt stepped into the spotlight as Trump's press secretary. Her appearance instantly sparked a firestorm, with Democrats quickly launching attacks. The tension was palpable as Leavitt's presence ignited heated political debates on air, forcing the hosts to navigate a tricky situation. What started as a standard conversation turned into a full-on confrontation, leaving viewers shocked and questioning how the hosts would handle the fallout. The drama unfolded quickly, intensifying the political divide already at play.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Their smear campaign didn't just fail, it completely backfired. What began as petty jealousy has now turned into a disaster, leaving the hosts' reputations in ruins. Thanks to Karoline's no-holds-barred approach, The View hosts are now scrambling to clean up the mess they made. And the fallout is nothing short of spectacular. Joy Behar, a self-proclaimed feminist who often preaches about empowering women, crossed a major line by reducing Karoline's achievements to nothing more than her looks. This hypocrisy is undeniable. How can someone claim to champion women's rights and then tear down a successful young woman? Karoline, however, didn't hesitate to call out these woke hosts.
These women are completely out of touch with reality. And you're right, ABC should wake up.
But hold on, if Karoline is a 10, where does that leave Joy Behar? Leave it to Greg Gutfeld from Fox News to deliver the punchline in his signature style. He didn't hold back, throwing some serious shade at Joy that had everyone talking. His commentary was sharp and didn't do Behar any favors, adding fuel to the fire. The internet has been buzzing ever since, with users across social media still laughing at Gutfeld's remarks. It was a moment that only intensified the drama, leaving people wondering if Joy could recover from the burn.
Joy Behar calls her a 10. I mean, how dare she objectify a woman with a sexist rating system? But it's such a typical thing from a 1.5.
But Karoline didn't stop with Joy Behar. She had some sharp words for the Democratic propaganda machine as well. She made it crystal clear that they have two choices: ride the Trump wave or be forgotten. According to Karoline, once Trump is done with them, they'll have nothing left, no scandals or media-driven distractions to keep them in the spotlight. Without their usual narrative-spinning machine, their so-called relevance is running out of time. The message was clear: they're on borrowed time and will struggle to stay in the public eye once the Trump era fades.
The Democrats can either get on board or they can prepare to lose another election just like they did on November 5th.
And judging by the stunned silence on The View, it was clear they felt every bit of that reality check. The jealousy was undeniable. The View panel was rattled by someone younger, sharper, and more deserving of the spotlight, outshining them. After Joy Behar's crude remarks, Whoopi Goldberg swooped in, trying to spin a new narrative that left Americans reeling. She went into full mother hen mode, scolding Karoline for what she called a lack of tolerance for weakness. But Whoopi wasn't offering wisdom. She was scrambling to control the damage. Karoline wasn't having any of it. In a now viral clip, Whoopi tried to blur the lines between civil rights and wokeness, but Karoline wasn't fooled. She called out Whoopi's flawed logic with brutal precision, making it clear that Whoopi either didn't understand the difference or was deliberately misleading her audience. And judging by Whoopi's reaction, she definitely felt that burn.
because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
If Whoopi is such a fierce supporter of women's rights, why didn't she call out Joy Behar for reducing Karoline's success to just her looks? Maybe it's because her so-called moral compass only points left. Instead of holding her co-host accountable, Whoopi took the opportunity to attack Karoline after the 27-year-old used her first White House press conference to call out the legacy media for losing the trust of everyday Americans. As expected, Whoopi pulled the race card, framing a conversation around identity politics rather than addressing the real issue, classic deflection. But Whoopi didn't stop there. She went full condescension mode, claiming Karoline didn't even understand what wokeness means. According to Whoopi, Karoline criticized it because she thinks it's a terrible thing to be, arguing that's what they've been fighting for so women could stand at the podium. But let's be honest, Karoline knows exactly what wokeness is, and that's why she called it out. Whoopi's attempt to gaslight the audience backfired, and if the hypocrisy wasn't already through the roof, Karoline blasted The View for their latest outrageous claim, attempting to pin an assassination attempt on Elon Musk in a fiery takedown. She pointed out the irony of the hosts pushing for accountability while recklessly spreading baseless accusations.
Women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason.
She reminded them that just a few years ago, the media was singing a very different tune. Now they're so desperate to control the narrative that they'll twist anything to fit their agenda, and Karoline wasn't about to let them get away with it. For years, The View and other legacy media outlets have operated without restraint, pushing whatever narrative suited them. They controlled the conversation, silenced opposition, and shaped public opinion with little to no consequences. But thanks to Karoline's bold stance, the era of unchecked propaganda is coming to an end. Her push for accountability is forcing these outlets to finally answer for their reporting.
Because black people couldn't get into colleges. Because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women.
Let's be honest, that's The View's worst nightmare. Without the ability to spin the truth at will, their entire playbook starts to unravel. Karoline Leavitt just flipped the script on legacy media, and now The View is losing it. She announced a major shakeup in the White House press pool, introducing a new media section to hold traditional outlets accountable for their years of biased reporting and outright misinformation about President Trump. We will call you out when we feel your reporting is wrong or misleading about this White House, Leavitt stated. For decades, the Associated Press and the White House Correspondents Association controlled the room, dictating who could ask questions and what narratives were pushed. But that's over. Karoline made it clear that these legacy media outlets won't have unchecked power anymore. In a bold move, 2 front-row seats, once reserved for White House staff, will now be given to new media voices who actually challenge the establishment. And if that wasn't enough to send The View into a meltdown, she also restored press passes for 440 journalists wrongfully revoked under Biden's administration.
How ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists, but they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
While many praised this push for transparency, The View panel had a very different reaction. Let's face it, the last thing they want is a press corps that actually challenges their narrative. Starting today, the front row seat, usually occupied by the press secretary's staff, will be known as the new media seat. Karoline Leavitt announced, "My team will review applications and grant credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex." Predictably, The View panel lost it. Sunny Hostin scoffed at the idea of new media reporters being qualified for briefings, acting as if only legacy media elites deserved a seat at the table. Whoopi chimed in with her usual holier-than-thou attitude, warning that under the new administration people would just spout stuff without standards. She claimed, "I don't always like the way they do it, but we have to have ourselves together. We can't just say stuff." Oh, the irony. For years, mainstream media, including The View, has been pushing half-truths, twisting narratives, and spouting whatever fits their agenda. Now that Karoline Leavitt is holding them accountable, suddenly Whoopi wants to talk about standards. Give me a break.
They likened President Trump to Hitler. They have mocked him. They have shamed him. They have lied about him consistently on their show. And it was a joy to watch them on November the 6th when they realized that tens of millions of Americans do not listen to the lies that they have spewed.
At the end of the day, it's not really about journalism or ethics. It's about attention. The hosts of The View thrive on being in the spotlight, dictating what the public should think. The real reason they're panicking is that millions of Americans are turning away from traditional media and seeking alternative sources. For the first time in years, they're losing control of the narrative, and they hate it. Karoline Leavitt, the country's youngest press secretary, scolded traditional media for losing the public's trust and pointed out that Americans are now looking to other outlets for their news. We know for a fact that lies have been pushed by many legacy media outlets about this president and his family, and we will not accept that, she stated. We will call you out when your reporting is wrong or there's misinformation about this White House, and now The View is finally feeling the heat. For years, they've been able to spread misinformation, smear political opponents, and gaslight their audience without much pushback. But those days are officially over as Karoline Leavitt holds them accountable. Let's not forget who Karoline replaced: Karine Jean-Pierre, who was quick to remind everyone that she was the first Black immigrant woman to hold the role, as if identity alone qualifies someone for the job. But Karoline has proven that real leadership isn't about ticking diversity boxes, it's about holding power accountable and speaking for the American people. Even Jen Psaki, who came before Jean-Pierre, criticized the identity politics strategy, calling it diminishing, yet The View continues to play that card, hoping no one notices how hollow their arguments really are. Karoline, however, isn't playing that game. She's here to do the job and do it well. But The View wasn't done embarrassing themselves just yet. After failing to take Karoline down with their cheap shots, they tried to trap her with a classic gotcha question on illegal immigration. They thought they had her cornered, thinking she'd fumble. Spoiler alert, she didn't.
She's young, but she's wise beyond her years, and she has access to the president, which is something someone didn't have.
They tried to corner Karoline into admitting that Trump's policies were somehow unfair to illegal immigrants. But Karoline flipped the script. She reminded them that Trump's America prioritizes law-abiding citizens over those who break the law, instantly dismantling their argument. Instead of conceding defeat, The View doubled down with more desperate attempts to spin the narrative. They love to act like they care about justice, but let's be real. This wasn't about defending immigrants. It was about pushing their tired left-wing agenda and trying to trip up a woman far too sharp to fall for it. Karoline is clearly having the time of her life watching them scramble. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she's not just standing her ground, she's enjoying every second of watching these so-called media elites struggle to keep up. The truth is, Karoline isn't just taking on The View, she's taking on the entire legacy media machine, and she's doing it with a smile on her face. She's not only exposing The View, but also their entire playbook.
The president doesn't surround himself by anybody smart.
Women.
And Joy Behar and those guys, of course this was going to happen. This is why conservative women just have to move on, do their thing, and not worry about the criticism from folks like at The View.
And we are expecting the media to be hostile.
Karoline knows exactly how the game is played, and she's making sure everyone else does too. For years, legacy media has controlled the narrative, twisting facts to fit their agenda. But now, Karoline is shutting it down in real time, and the more they try to fight back, the more they prove her point. In a final blow, Karoline dropped the ultimate truth bomb. Asterisk, The View has been so focused on catering to the left that they're now completely lost. For years, they've been nothing more than a mouthpiece for the Democratic agenda, blindly echoing whatever narrative they were handed. Now, with Karoline calling the shots and holding the media accountable, they don't know what to do with themselves. They've spent so long pushing the left's demands that when someone challenges them, they crumble. Karoline's loving every second of it. Just like that, The View has been completely exposed: their hypocrisy, their bias, and their desperate attempts to cling to relevance. Karoline Leavitt didn't just call them out, she forced them to confront their own downfall in real time.
She was conflating two ideas. This word wokeness didn't look like she really understood what it meant, or certainly the way Karoline Leavitt meant it when she made that statement, and she was conflating it with civil rights and how, women didn't have the right to vote or own property and all of that. That has nothing to do with wokeness, which is, of course, about putting people in there because of their immutable characteristics rather than the merit that they bring to the table.
But this is just the beginning. With the media landscape shifting, legacy outlets like The View are scrambling to regain control and failing miserably. So, the real question is, How much longer can they keep up this charade? What do you think? Are we witnessing the end of mainstream media dominance, or will they find a way to worm their way back into power? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more hard-hitting breakdowns like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because trust me, this fight is far from over.